So I'm working on my Farmall M here, and I mentioned in the past I had trouble keeping these wheels tight. And these are the non-adjustable style wheels. There's another style wheel which I have on my H, which you can adjust the width of the front wheels. This style here, basically you just rely on these clamps. If we go here to the other side, I can show how this works. Basically, that clamp there just clamps the wheel to the center hub piece, and that's what keeps it tight. A lot of people have trouble keeping these tight, and I'll show on the other side what happens if you run them loose. But the nice thing about a narrow front end tractor is if you just run it up on the board on the one side, you can pull the wheel off fairly easily. So over here, if you look, there's a lug on the rim which sets in this hub, and this is what happens if you let them run loose. Now that happened in this thing's previous life, but you can see this one here, it's pretty bad. Someone really was letting their wheel flop around. Now it's not usually a big issue if you can get these nice and tight, but obviously there's been an issue here before. And also another problem is a lot of times people don't use the proper bolts. Now these were the right kind of bolt, but they were only a grade 2 bolt. Kind of learned that lesson, and you can see how they got bent. So hopefully by replacing the bolts with grade 5 bolts, I won't have this issue anymore. Also, I figured while I'd have the front wheels off, I'd put a second set of these wheel weights on the front. Really like the looks of those. So I'll get this back together and show you what it looks like. All right, so I got the wheel back on, and if you look in on the rim there, there's that square little block. That's what keeps the wheel from spinning on the hub. So hopefully this won't be an issue anymore, and these wheels will stay tight. I'll show you here in a second the other style of rim that was offered on these tractors. So this is the other style of rim which I have on my H. And if you look, these hubs actually bolt to the rim. I feel like this is a lot better design. And you could actually spin the wheel around, and there's a few different settings where you could adjust the width of the front end. I haven't had any trouble at all with these wheels getting loose. And if I could find a parts tractor or potentially the parts, I'd consider changing my M over to this style of front end. I just feel like it stays a little tighter, so we'll see what happens. So what I'll do is I'll drive this around, and then I'm going to retorque these bolts basically just to make sure they stay tight. I also put a new muffler on this M. My old one blew out on the bottom. This is one of the reproduction styles from Steiner Tractor Parts. And it sounds pretty good, I think. I'll start it up here real quick. Alright, the following pictures are from an auction I went to last weekend. I figured I'd show a few of these and see if anyone was interested. And the main reason I went to this auction, I was actually selling my W6 tractor. I'm actually going to go a different route with that, but there was quite a few nice Farmalls. This auction is mainly for larger international tractors, but there were quite a few Farmall letter series, which is my main interest. But I did like a lot of these tractors, like this 1456. Those are always pretty nice. This was a gold demonstrator tractor that he had in his shop. And like the Super WD9, I thought that was pretty cool. And it was just some nice scenery looking out across all the tractors. I did bid on this M. I'm looking to build a pooling tractor at some point, but I kind of have a different one in mind now. This tractor is kind of neat. I had seen this a few years earlier. This was it at another auction, and a man had bought it and fixed it up. And these here are a few that were in his shop. He works on all kinds of tractors and sells them as well. Also does some consignment stuff. This MTA was sold for over $8,000. And again, there's my W6. So finally here, I threw in 2 pictures from this weekend. This is my BN. I was down watering my sycamore tree. That's a whole nother story for a different time. And also I had a picture of my Super A. I was down disking some ruts in the cornfield where the sprayer had gotten stuck. So I figured someone might like to see these. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.